Alright, this will be the updated Team Trials guide for the Unity Cup. This video will cover what to look for when training your Team Trials UMA and how you should prepare for each specific distance category. Quick disclaimer, I am not a top 10, 50 or whatever Team Trials player, but I was bouncing between class 5 and class 6 during URA like a lot of people, and now I can consistently hit over 600k weekly, which is more than enough to retain class 6 until the next scenario, I would think. And I just want to share what's been working for me with you guys. Alright, so first off, there's not like a crazy amount of difference between the last one to this one. I included the scoring system page here for those that are new and want to know how you get points in team trials. I also hopefully made things a little bit more organized and appealing on the other tabs. Upon further stalking of the top team trials player, I also learned some new stuff that is beneficial for us to know, which I will be sharing with you guys throughout the video. Alright, let's talk about the Sprint UMA. First, so these are some of the popular sprint UMA and team trials from the top players. Obviously, a lot of these are like these are the only sprint UMA, so like they have kind of have to use these. These one are specific to sprint. Some of these are flexible. You can use mostly Marzensky. You can see her mostly in mile. Sometimes you even see her in medium and long. Taiki, I call her the triple flex god. She can be placed in sprint. She can be placed in mile. She can also be placed in dirt as well. So, and she's really good in every single one of those categories. So she is really insane. Most of the time you see her in mile or dirt rather than sprint. She actually shows up in sprint quite rarely, but you can use her in sprint, which is what I've been doing if you are lacking a good sprint UMA somewhere on your account. For stats for sprinters, still it's pretty much the same thing as before. You want to prioritize speed and width, which is why I highlighted it in green, and then you want to invest as much as possible into power, which is why I'm highlighted in yellow after you invest in speed and width. For speed, you want 1150 to 1200 near max speed, pretty standard stuff there. 400 to 600 stamina. You can go for closer to 600 if you care about consistency, you worry about awful mood or like the track condition being bad, all that stuff. But generally speaking, I find more success with closer to 400. And then if you do worry about a little bit about stamina issue, just buy one or two white recovery skills that are generally available to you, like corner recovery and straightaway recovery in your career runs. Sometimes you can even run gold recovery skills. I've seen someone with like 380 stamina, but they have run like a gold recovery skill, which is fine because they have high wit, right? So the chance of them activating it is very high. And 900 to 1200 power, 300 to 550 gut. If you go a little bit lower than that, like 280 or something like that, it's not that big end of the world. Gut is still not like a key stats. It's useful now for dueling, so you do want a little bit more of it compared to before. But if you go a little bit lower than that, it's not the end of the world for team trial specifically. So don't stress too much about it. For wit, 800 to 1200 wit will be your general range. Wit is especially important in team trials. The obvious reason is like higher wit means higher chance of skill activation. So obviously one of the aspects of scoring in team trial is your skill activation. You get points based on the type of skills you activate. It grants you points that way. So wit obviously is very important in that regard. But in career runs, you don't lose energy, you gain energy. So you invest in more turns on actually training rather than resting. So you minimize the amount of turn you rest with more wit clicks. And also when you click wit, you also generally get more skill point than your normal other facility training as well, right? So more skill point means more skills for you to buy, which means also more chance for you to activate those skills for you to get more points for team trials, which is why wit is very important across the whole board. But some of the other category like medium and long, obviously you still want to prioritize stamina first because if your horse die and get like 10th place and you're cooked anyway, you're not going to get high scores. So generally wit is very important in team trials overall. I'd like to mention this note here. I included this in my other tab as well, but I'm going to mention it here now and don't have to mention it for the rest of the other tab when I go through them. Sometimes lower stat doesn't necessarily mean worst if you can get more skill, which also contribute to like the potential points you can get from your skill activation in team trials, and also the higher chance of you having a higher placement depending on the skills that you buy with those extra skill points. This is why sometimes when you see someone with like a S or S plus or SS even UMA and their stat line, you don't think it looks too crazy. It's because they run a lot of extra races. They have a lot of extra skill points than you, and they just buy a bunch of extra skills, and that's why their rating are generally higher, even though their stats doesn't look the craziest. Stats are important, obviously, but so are your skills, and the level of your unique skills is very important. One that I would like to specifically warn people, because I'm falling a victim of this, and I'll show you an example down here in a little bit. is specifically boxing, for example. Not just boxing, some of these other shorter distance UMA, sometimes they're races in their career that is required to run. Even if you get first on all of those races, you will not get enough fans for you to hit the milestone requirement during the senior year to upgrade your unique skills. And your unique, higher level unique skills, when you activate it, also grants more points in team trials. And then you can argue like, oh, you'll lose some stats because you have to run extra races, but with the extra races, you also get more skill points, and more skill points mean more skills for you to buy, and more skills for you to buy means chances, if depending on the skills, you can get higher placement as well from activating that skill, and also you get points if you activate it from the scoring system of your skill activation in Team Trials, which is also really nice. So please, if you run boxing specifically, don't pull a me. Please run some extra races on dead turns to get enough fans for you to upgrade your unique skills to level 3 and 4 and all that good stuff. And also, please consider your UMA's training bonuses when constructing your deck. And I'll go over an example in a little bit, but sometimes people just copy a deck and just run it for every single UMA. There is context behind everything, so just consider the context of everything, specifically your UMA training bonuses when constructing your deck. Let's talk about some of the deck setup now. These are from the top Team Trials players. Obviously, I know a lot of people associate those top players with as whales, but I put a question mark here because I generally think some of them aren't as whaley as some of us think. This one is a perfect example. They only have one LB boxing. Obviously, you can say like he has 3 LB Rico and 3 LB fine motion, but like you can argue that they should have been MLB, right? If they're like a really turbo whale. Obviously, I don't argue that some of them probably are Giga whales, but like I don't want to say that every single one of them are whales. Some of them are pretty impressive with some of the stats they get, some of the points that they can generate with the cards that they are using. So I don't just wanna leave it there. I'm not gonna talk too much about their specific deck setup because most people probably won't be able to relate to it. And if you can't relate to it, then you probably already know what you're doing anyway. So I'm not gonna talk too much about that part. I just leave them here just as a reference in case you wanna see it and then understand why they pick some of these cards. Alright, so now hopefully a more realistic look is something like this. This is actually from my account. I started playing this game when the first Kitasan Black banner is out, and I re-rolled the 3 limit break Kitas on black here, and then now here we are with this setup. This is actually, I think I made this is like this specifically from a boxing run, so this is actually like a month ago. Obviously, some of my cards have gotten upgraded from then, but this is also from some of my friends that also started the same time as me. Hopefully, this one might be more relatable to some people. Now, I know some of you guys still think this is not relatable because some people didn't pull on the Kitasan Black banner, or they got completely screwed over on it, or they didn't reroll on their account to get high limit break on the Kitasan Black that borrow Kitasan Black every single one of their run. Don't worry, I got you covered as well. This is generally the extremely free to play version, depending on what you have on your account. The most important thing to note is that for sprinters, and honestly for Mao and Dirt as well, which I'll go over again once I get there, you just want to prioritize speed and width card. That's literally it, to hit those high uh, speed and width stats, and then just inherit all in on power, and then as much as you can from what you have on your account, and then if you decide to borrow for your Team Trials Uma, full on power, and otherwise just use whatever else you have. I recommend stamina as a secondary if you can't get power otherwise. And this is something you just use your whatever SR card that you have and then borrow your Kitasan Black as per usual. You can run like your 3 speed, 3 wit, 2 speed, 4 wit, or sometimes even 2 speed, 3 wit, and then a Rico for the little bit of boost on your stamina without investing in much stamina clicks and also stamina sparks with it if you do have Rico card there. If you don't have some of these, then just replace it with another one of the same training type. So if you don't have like Sutoshio here, but you have Aishin Flash, just put Aishin Flash in instead and just keep the same ratio. Just replace whatever you don't have with what you do have on your account. But you also want to consider your cards limit break as well. Some people will just look at this list, they have everything here, they're like, oh, I got this, I'm just gonna use whatever they see here. But then if they have 0 limit break on, like say their Sweep Toshio for example, but they have a 3 limit break Aishin Flash, obviously you want to use the 3 limit break Aishin Flash instead of your 0 limit break Sweep Toshio, right? But generally speaking. But so also consider your card limit break when you do construct your deck. So for sprinters, speed cards and wit card, 2 speed, 3 wit, Rico, or 2 speed and 4 wit, even depending on the Uma that you're training for. I think King Halo is a little bit sketchy. King Halo, I think you can go 3 speed and 3 wit or 3 speed, 2 wit, and then a Rico if you want, because King Halo doesn't have any speed or wit modifier, I don't believe. So that one you might have to alter a little bit to get the max speed, but also get really high wit with that. Alright, for the example, we're going to talk about some of the top players, and then I'll use my own run to hopefully be a little bit more relatable, but I do want to talk about some of the top players to just like see what they do, because I think even though we can't replicate what they do, we can still learn certain things from them just by looking at their Umas. So this is the rank 1 Team Trials player as of the time I made the Google Sheet here. This is TM Opera O. I think this might be Nev. The top Team Trials player are like starting to change their name to certain Umas. I don't know, it's like their favorite Uma or whatever. But they just changed so you just now you look at the Team Trials leaderboard, just a bunch of Umas name. I don't know who's who anymore, but it's kind of fun. But anyway, this is their air groove. Their gut is a little bit low, but it's not the end of the world as I mentioned earlier. Their stat line looks pretty good, but they have 15.3k rating. Generally with the stat line you don't get 15.3k rating. The reason they get such high rating is because they did a lot of extra races to allow them to purchase all of these gold skills. 7 gold skill is insane. Like that's a lot of skill point invested into it. I think for this one specifically, if I remember correctly, they ran like 22 to 25 races total in the career, where a normal Uma, if you don't run any extra races, is like about 11 or 12. So they run like a 10 to like 13 extra races for the extra skill point. And then I wouldn't doubt that they probably also did a lot of runs to get a bunch of these hints for these white version of these gold skill from like their Uma's hint or like their random bubble hints, or sometimes even just like the event choices, or like even inheritance as well. They probably have inheritance or some of these hint skills as well to make them cheaper to allow to purchase all of these skills as well. I'd say I can see why some people really enjoy Team Trials. It's like a lot of min-maxing and optimization, which some people find it fun. Most people though probably don't care too much about it. They just want to get their Class 6, maintain Class 6, get their max carrots reward, and bada bing bada boom, move on with their life, right? So this is more of this example here as a run by me from boxing. No borrow, 1 run only. I mentioned this on the top of all my tabs here. Do not stress out, it's just Team Trials. If you still have all your old Uma from URA and they're not that good, do 1 run on all of them. They'll probably be better than your old ones. And if you are not satisfied with some of them because they're not giving you much points or whatever, then at that point, once you do 1 run on all of your old Umas, then you can work on some of the ones that are not satisfied to you. You can test it by, they added a system in Team Trials now that you can track how much points each Uma gets per different matches, so you can check which ones isn't performing well consistently, and then you can redo them and then get better score if you really want to. But yeah, I did this one for 1 run. The spark that I used for this one's 13 power, 3 stam. This is the deck that I use, which is the same one that I listed here. I will point out my mistakes because this is when I was Giga Noob. But as I mentioned earlier, my unique skills level 2 because I did not hit the milestone in the senior year because I did not run any extra races. So my unique is level 2, which is obviously not great. If I run the extra races, I'll probably have at most I'll have 200 less wit, so I'll have like 866 wit probably, and then get level 4 unique skills, which is not even that bad, sacrificing 200 wit or about that range for the 2 level on the unique skills. Give me more points when I activate it, and also by running the extra races I get more skill point, which means I could have bought another white skill or 2, which if I activate those I get more points as well, right? Which is also very highly likely that I'll activate them because I have such a high wit count anyway. This is my skill for my boxing. I did not have many gold option. My potential level on my boxing is like 1, I think, so I don't have turbo sprint unlocked. I'm not a pace chaser or a laser chaser, so I can't use speed star. I can't use bigger picture from these 2 cards. I also bought no stopping me, which is like extremely troll on a front runner. I don't think that a chance of me proccing is like very low, so like I just wasted a bunch of skill point there. But although given the context, I don't think it would matter anyway, which I'll explain in a little bit. But obviously Professor of Curvature, really good skill for all Uma, and then I bought a bunch of white skills that are either very easy to proc and also provide decent value at least. So it's a good mix of easy to proc to give me points for activating them, and then also when activated they actually get me something for my Uma that allows me to potentially have a higher position to get more points as well. This one here, Sprint Corner, double circle. Do not ever go double circle. If your skill allows you to get circles, only go single circle, never go double circle. One circle is 500 point, double circle is still 500 point. You're just wasting extra skill point. You can just use that skill point to buy some other skill instead. The exception is that you only have enough to buy the double circle, then I guess you can go double circle. But for this run specifically, I didn't have any other option outside of these skills I can use. I remember I got a bunch of Pace Chaser skill, which is like unlucky, but which is why I kind of had to go double circle here, and I also had to go Flustered Front Runner, which is like not ideal, but like I guess it's okay because I think most people run boxing, so I can just target their boxing. So in that case, I don't think I could have done much with the no stopping me anyway, and then I also have right-handed because like I can't buy anything else. The rest of my skills are Pace Chaser skill, which doesn't really do anything for this one. But yeah, this is my boxing run. It's been doing pretty decently. Definitely better than my old one, so that's just as long as you do better than your old one, that's all that matters at the end of the day. Alright, so the mouse, Umas. First off, we got Baka, very popular. I think I want to see 90% of the top players will have Baka and Mile. You'll sometimes see them in medium, but most of the time you'll see them in Mile. Very strong Mile Uma. Fuji Kiseki, also a really strong one, but most people don't have her. And then also Taiki Shadow, as I mentioned before. And then S Maru is also a very strong one. And then some of these other ones I'm not gonna go specific about, but these are some of the the top players generally use for their mile team trials. For stats, nothing really changed too much. Speed, width, and power is still the same. The width you can go a little bit lower as a lowest range because you want a little bit more stamina now that you bumped the distance type a little bit. You want to go 500 to 650 stamina. Generally speaking, you want to aim for 600. But if you have like a 2 or 3 white recovery skill, sometimes even a gold recovery skill, then you can go for 500 or even a little bit lower than 500 as long as you hit the certain threshold along with your recovery skills. You can say like, oh, I don't want, what happened if I get like awful mood or like the tracks condition is terrible, then at that point everyone's gonna suffer anyway, so you might as well just try to high roll and hopefully you don't die. So I generally try to aim for the bare minimum and then max out on everything else, because if you hit, you hit. If you don't hit, you don't hit. Unlucky. I don't think you should play for consistency in team trials. You just try to hit the big bucks. You have a lot of attempt for the whole week to get a high score. You need to retain class 6, so just go for the high roll. That's what I prefer anyway. Got 350 to 550, a little bit lower is still not the worst, as I mentioned earlier. And then these are the example of some of the Uma's deck setup for the top players. And more realistic, hopefully more realistic, something like mine and my friends. These are some, you still go speed, you still go width, nothing really changes. The only thing that changes is that I would highly advise grabbing Rico if you have Rico now, because the higher increase in stamina. If you just grab Rico, you'll basically, generally speaking, you'll cover most of your stamina problem with just your Rico card. You still have to press a little stamina or you invest a little bit in stamina spark, but other than that, your Rico card will get you covered as long as you do all of your dates. If you don't have Kitasan flag, you need to borrow Kitasan flag. Obviously I got you covered as well. Again, if you have R Rico, obviously use that. If you do not have R Rico, for example, you can still just run 3 speed 3 width or 2 speed 4 width for your Mount Uma. The only difference is that if you don't have R Rico, then you can either go more stamina spark in your legacy, or you can just hit more stamina training during the career runs to compensate not having Rico and then needing a little bit more stamina for your Mile Team Trials Uma. Other than that, then invest everything else in the power. Alright, so the examples. This is the rank 2 Meisho Doto. Like I don't even know who this guy is anyway. I can guess, but like I don't know. Vodka, obviously like I mentioned earlier, very popular, very strong. Obviously the stat line looking okay for a top player, but then also they have a lot of skills. I literally have to take 2 separate screenshots because they have so many skills. They have 5 gold and a bunch of white skills here. Something I like to mention, Sympathy is actually a strategy you can use. But if you have Rico, this only works if you have Rico, because you can decently consistent to get Sympathy as long as you unlock Rico before the end of the junior year. I think you get 3 hints on Sympathy and it's cost like 49 points or something. Strategy you can do is that you can grab every single one of your Uma for that specific category. So if you're in the Mao category, for example, you can run 3 Sympathy on all 3 of your Mao Team Trials Uma. Even if the person you're against doesn't have Sympathy on any of their Uma, the AI can actually have a decent chance of having Sympathy on them as well. So if you have 3 Sympathy, you just need 1 more Sympathy. You just gotta bank on one of the AIs to grab Sympathy, and then all 3 of your Uma will get free 500 points at the beginning, and also free speed as well, which is a strategy that some of the top players does use that I would like to point out as well. This is more of a example from my end. I did borrow a Satan Sky because I want angling and scheming to maybe have a higher chance of consistently getting first, which my S Mario does get first quite often for the Mario Team Trials. But what I do notice is that a lot of top players don't ever buy inherited skills, and the reason for that is because the inherited skills are generally expensive. They're hard to get discount on. They only can get discount off inspiration, which is like really hard, right? The chance of you getting a inherited skill inspiration is very low, and they just rather use the skill points that they would have used to bought the inherited skill on some discounted skill, so they can instead get 2 skills instead of 1, which is why they generally avoid unique skills. Like, at least that's what my interpretation is. I could be totally off market, but that's my reasoning behind their choices. And then these are some of my skills for my S Mario. I only have Mao Maven. I don't have Professor of Curvature because I did not hit Professor of Curvature on this run. Very unlucky, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. One thing I like to mention is the green skills. So green skills, you generally want to avoid them unless it's a savvy skills, because these are free 500 points if you can fill their style requirement. They'll guarantee the proc, and some of the other green skills, you can argue for some of them. The Sympathy strat, as I mentioned earlier, can work if you put Sympathy on all your Uma. Lone Wolf can work. I don't know the chance of the AI having Lone Wolf, so that one might be a little bit sketchy. Firm Condition is okay. It's like probably 50-50. Left-handed, right-handed also 50-50. Standard and non-standard distance also 50-50. And then some of the other one after those are probably not worth it because those are like even less chance. So generally I like to avoid green skills unless you have literally no other skill points left to buy any other skills, then you can buy green skills. But generally you want to prioritize like the savvy skills if you have it for your Uma, and then also some of the more higher chances one like left-handed, right-handed, rather than like Sunny Day, which is like 1 out of 25 chance or something. I also forgot I rushed ahead and I did not finish the rest of these. So I did borrow Satan Skies like I mentioned earlier. I did 1 run only. I inherited 14 power, 3 stamina with this one. This is the deck that I used to run it. Obviously, if I had the cards I have now, some of these cards will be different. I think I would have changed Daiwa Scarlet for Mihono Bourbon Wood card that's currently available in the event right now. I'll guarantee me huge lead, which will be a gold skills for me, and also a pretty MLB Wood card at the end of the day, so it's a pretty good one for me there. So obviously some of these cards will be different based on what I have now, but back then this is what I have and what I used and what I got then. I'm going to quickly speed run Dirt because they're literally the same as Mile. They run the same track. The only difference is that it's not turf, it's dirt. That's literally it. These are the Dirt Uma. Most people will have Haru Urara and Alcantara Pasta, but then most people will not have the third one because these are all 3-star character. So they'll have to use something that's not ideal just to have it there to get 3 points, or they have to hopefully they have one of these Ogre Cap or Taiki Shadow and then put them in the dirt spot. Stats pretty much the same, cards pretty much the same, nothing really changes. And then I'll just go over the example really quickly. This one is from the rank 3 player. Nice Nature. I think this is Coco. I could be wrong. This is their Agnes Digital. Honestly, really nice stat line there. A lot of gold skills, 7 gold skill along with a decent amount of white skills as well. Really, really insane. This one is from me, from my Alcantara Pasa. My Alcantara Pasa is legit Omega Homeless. Literally on life support, 450 stamina. I do have 1 white recovery, so this will be like 520 stamina, which is like at the very bare minimum. If I'm ever awful mood or bad mood or the track is like a bit scuffed, then I'm probably dead and my pasta will probably not score me too many points, but I'm too lazy to make another one. I can already get enough points to maintain class 6 until the end of the scenario anyway, so I'm not going to invest too much into it. I did not do any borrows. I did 1 run only. I went 13 power, 1 wit. Don't ask me why I have the 1 wit, please and thank you. These are some of my skills. Some gold skills there, nothing too fancy. Bought a Triumph and Pulse, even though I probably shouldn't have, and then some of these white skills that I can proc as well. This is the deck that I use. Obviously, borrow Fine Motion as a good wit card, and also I can get Speed Star, except the issue is that I did not hit Speed Star. I got prepared to pass instead. It do be like that sometimes, but it's okay because it's still better than my previous version, so I'm happy with that. And 1 run, done. Got enough points. Move on to the next one. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright, so media. Oh my god. When I made this, it's like I low-key was like just laughing while I was making this. In case you guys haven't realized, with the abundance of medium shoes on all of our accounts, there's a lot of Umas that can run medium and long. So obviously that also means there's a lot of choices for medium Uma. Specifically, the one that I noticed a lot, or like pretty much every person has Agnes Tachyon. She is really, really insane. And I'll talk more about it in a little bit, but she's definitely the god tier in the medium team trials. These are some of the stats. Now the priority shifted a little bit. Still want decent amount of wit because wit is just that important in team trials, but you want to focus on hitting the stamina threshold first to make sure your horse doesn't die and then you get a terrible placement and you get like crappy score because your placement is too bad. So you want to focus on speed and then stamina. Speed still the same. You can drop a little bit more speed now and if you have to do it to hit the stamina threshold and the wit threshold, it's all good there. A stamina threshold 750 to 850 with 1 gold recovery. Procking is generally enough for medium. Unique skill count as well. So recovery unique skills like Tachyon or like Summer Special Week, then you can also use that as a substitute. They are pretty much guaranteed. They're 100% guaranteed to proc, no wit check as long as you fulfill the skills requirement, which it's not that hard for either of them. So you can also use unique to substitute for the gold recovery if you really want to. And power 700 is 1000, a little bit less power generally speaking because you have to have higher stamina now. And then gut 400 to 550. Generally, I would like to say you don't want to go below 400 because gut does help with endurance. It definitely want at least 400 gut as well. And then 600 to 1100 wit depending on the strategy you're going for and the Uma that you're running. Generally 600 wit is probably your targeted baseline for your medium Uma. Just run 1 wit card and you should be able to hit 600 wit most of the time. These are some of the deck setup for the top players. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not gonna go over them too much. On my account, this is what I run on some of my Uma. You have different deck setup depending on the spark that you bring with your runs. So this one here, I have 3 speed, 2 wit, and then Rico, and then I just invest a bunch of stamina spark to hit the stamina requirement while hitting a decently high wit while also maintaining my high speed as well. This is one of my friends' setup. He will 3 speed, 1 wit, and then borrow a Super Creek and a Rico. Super Creek specifically, if your Uma does not have any innate gold recovery skill, Super Creek can be really nice to grant you Swinging Maestro. And one of my friends that does not have a MLB Kitasan Black, actually borrow a Kitasan Black and he runs something like this, 3 speed, 1 stamina, 1 wit, and with Rico just like my other friends here, but borrow the Kitasan Black here and use some other cards from his account to make the same ratio. If you don't have Kitasan Black, you have to borrow Kitasan Black and you have some of the SR card, then you can go for something like this. You can go 3 speed, Rico, and then 2 wit, just like me up here for some Umas. You can also go like 3 speed, 1 wit, 1 stamina with Rico. If you don't want to run Rico or you don't have Rico, you can just simply substitute Rico for a stamina card then, and you can run something like 3 speed, 2 stamina, 1 wit. This will be very, very consistent for you to hit the speed and stamina threshold as well if you run something like this without Rico. Sparks, you can go a mix of stamina and power depending on the needs of your Uma to hit the specific threshold. I would prioritize hitting your stamina threshold first before you invest the rest into power or sometimes even speed. If your Uma has like 0 speed bonuses and your speed cards are not the greatest, then you can invest some in speed instead of power instead. But definitely focus more on the stamina and speed aspect before working on power. And alright, let's look at the examples from the top player. This one is rank 9. This is Baby Snake. This is their Naruto Taishin. You see Naruto Taishin quite often in medium and also in long as well. This one has a really nice stat line and also a lot of gold skills as well, 6 of them. Also some extra white skill as well. For my runs here, I have no borrow, 1 run only, again 11 stamina, 6 power, and I run the 3 speed, 2 stamina with Rico setup here to hit 600. Don't think I needed 2 wit to hit 600, but I think I just got unlucky with my wit rainbows, so my wit is a little bit lower than what I wish to be. Max speed, 784 stamina, which is fine, and then 921 power. I have a little bit too much power. I wish I have a little bit more wit instead of power, honestly. For skills, I don't have a gold recovery skills because I didn't get one, which is a bit of a problem. I did not think this through when I made this run, but thankfully one of my inherited parent was Super Creek, and Super Creek unique skill Pure Heart actually got buffs to 0.55 to 0.75, so the inherited version also got buffed as well from 0.15 to 0.35. So with Pure Heart and then with 3 other white recovery skill, I should be fine most of the time, unless I just don't proc some of these, then obviously GG, unlucky, go next one. And something I like to mention, I forgot to mention, is that for medium track, like I mentioned earlier, you want to run at least 1 wit card. I would highly recommend Agnes Tachyon wit card because this card has a very low hint pool. I think it's only like 5 thing in the pool, which is like a stat, and then four of the skills, all of them are medium specific skill. There's tether, there's medium corner, medium straightaway, and then also up tempo. All four of them are medium skills that you can use. Just put it on your Uma, and then they'll grant you free points if you activate them. So it's a really, really nice card. I highly recommend Agnes Tachyon for your medium Team Trials Uma if you have it. I'd like to go on a little bonus section here, talk about a little bit about Agnes Tachyon. What makes her so strong is that she's also like really flexible because of her unique being a gold recovery, and also she got buffed, so now it's actually a little bit of a speed skill as well. So this one is from TM Opera once again, probably Neb. Really low stamina, 651, but it's okay because her unique, so you get 0.55 worth of stamina there. I think level 6 probably a little bit higher. And then also he has Race Planner as another gold recovery option as well. So his stamina, even though it's 651 on the stat screen, it's going to be fine for the races because he has the unique skills and also a gold recovery skill there. And then obviously the same old stuff, a bunch of other gold recovery skill and then a bunch of white skill that you can find there. And this is my bootleg version attempt of trying to do the same thing. No borrow, 1 run. I have 6 speed, 9 stamina, 3 power. I probably did not need 9 stamina because as you can see here, I overcapped what I wanted to do a little bit too much. Agnes Tachyon does have a lot of medium and long races, so I thought if I didn't inherit many stamina spark, then I'll just lose those races and I have to run extra races. I don't want to do that. But in terms of doing that, I end up having a little bit too much stamina, so I decided to pivot. I don't run Race Planner, and instead I just used my unique skills to carry me. Because this is like pretty consistently the proc, right? So like I have this stamina baseline, I can consistently activate this and I'll be fine, and I grab some extra white recovery skills just in case some shenanigan happen, I have awful mood or whatever, then these will also help me as well. So and I just bought a bunch of white skill afterward outside of Professor of Curvature because that's all I got on my runs. There's the deck that I use for my Agnes Tech. This one is a little bit interesting because these 4 in particular, Gold Ship, Super Creek, Grass Wonder Fantasy, and Summer Special Week, are like literally everywhere. If you look at the leaderboard, they're literally everywhere. Everyone will have some sort of combination of these Uma. At least 2 of the 3 will be guaranteed to be 2 of these 4s because they're just that strong. These 3 specifically because their uniques are a recovery skill, and then Gold Ship is Gold Ship. She's just OP and long, so that is what it is. Stat, pretty much the same priority. The only difference is that your stamina threshold is even higher now, 900 to 1150. You want 2 to 3 gold recovery skills. One of them is acting as a buffer, so you're not gonna have a lot of wit on for this setup, generally speaking. So if you run 2 recovery skill, one of them doesn't activate, you're hoping the other one, at least the other one will activate, and you'll be fine, generally speaking. And if you're on the lower end of the stamina, like 900 or even 850, then you want to run 3 gold recovery skill, and generally if you have 850 stamina, you'll have a decently higher wit, so you'll want to at least proc 2 of the 3 gold recovery skills in order for you to survive the long track. Once again, the unique counts as well, and power is still the same, gut is still the same. You can go 400 to 1000 wit, higher wit depending on specific Uma, and if you can run no wit card and just go 400 wit is also fine. Some people are still struggling with Unity Cup and all the mechanics and stuff, so for those people, honestly, I would recommend you to run no wit card just so that it fits more of like the traditional URA scenario where you only run speed and stamina card, and then you just have to focus on that extra gimmick while not having to balance out speed, stamina, and then also a little bit of wit as well. So sometimes it's challenging to some people, so for those people I would recommend just running no wit and just playing like your standard URA style. For the top players, there's some example, not gonna talk about it. This is an example from me and my friends again. For me, this one is the double power 3 speed Rico combo. This one only really works on Gold Ship and Summer Special Week. I don't recommend many people to do this. Most of the time when people do try this 3 speed 2 power setup with Gold Ship, you generally want to borrow or use a max Rice Shower. I decided to just use my Rice Shower, which is 2 LB anyway, just because I want to try it, and like YOLO, if I fail, I try again, right? But I ended up actually doing a decent run on it, so I decided to just keep it and just use it, and it been working decently well, so I'm not gonna care too much about it. My friends here have 3 speed, 2 stamina, and then a Rico. This might be a bit overkill on some Uma like Gold Ships, so but if the Uma that you're training for has like 10 or 0% stamina bonus, then this deck obviously can't work. And then one of my other friend here run 4 speed card with a borrow Biko with Rice Shower, and then also Rico as well. I'm not too sure about 4 speed card. I don't know what he was training specifically. I'm assuming with this setup, he can guarantee 1200 speed, and then he can max inherit stamina for whatever Uma he was training with this one. That's my assumption. I don't know. I'm not too sure about this one, I'll be honest. But more relatable side, if you have Rico, then you can run like 3 speed, 2 stamina with Rico. This is going to be the really consistent one to hit the speed and stamina threshold or get close to it. You can also just run 3 SR speed card and then run 2, depending on the Uma you're training, you can also not borrow Kitasan Black and run 3 of your SR speed card instead, and then run an SR stamina card and then borrow a max creek, because some Uma will not have that many options for gold recovery skill. So if you do need to get that gold recovery skill of Swinging Maestro from Super Creek, then I obviously recommend you borrowing that instead. And then if you don't have Rico, then you can just go 3 speed. You can go 3 speed, 3 stamina, or 4 speed, 2 stamina, depending on what Uma you're training for. If you're training Ghost Ship, 4 speed, 2 stamina. If you're training something else that has a little bit of speed modifier, then 3 speed and 3 stamina would work as well. You can borrow Super Creek if you need a gold recovery skill, or you can borrow a Kitasan Black if you really need that extra speed. Alright, let's look at some of the examples now. So this one is rank 20 Ogre Caps Ghost Ship. Obviously insane speed, stamina, and power ratio, and also 649 wit as well. I believe he ran 1 wit card, which net him a 16.5k rating, along with all of these skills, gold skills, and white skills as well. One thing I'd like to point out about this ship is that he only has 1 recovery skill, and even though he has 649 wit, he can still miss the Swinging Maestro on some of the races. Factor into like sometimes you can get bad or awful mood, or the track condition, or like the longer side of the long racetrack in the team trials. Sometimes if he does not practice, likely depending on the situation, he will die. But I also respect his choice for only going 1, because he's going for the mentality of, if I hit this with these extra skill points that I could have invested in a second gold recovery skill on these speed skill, I win. But if I don't practice, I lose. Unlucky, go next one. So this is an approach that you can certainly go. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm telling you here, right? I can guarantee what I'm telling you here is not the best answer, but it is something that's been working for me and what I do. But some people obviously go for a different approach, and you can definitely see it from their Uma, and you can definitely respect their hustle on that one. Go big or go home. I like that mentality. So big respect for this guy. So this is my run. Obviously compared to this guy's like, my goal ship was like from Timu. No borrow, 1 run. I went 11 speed, 6 stamina. I don't know why I ran 11 speed. I don't remember too much about this run, to be honest with you. Like I said earlier, I ran 3 speed, 2 power, Rico. Probably should not have done this without a max right shot, but I want to try this deck setup anyway. And I got something decently okay, I would say. But I did run 2 gold recovery skills, so hopefully, even though my wit is pretty low, hopefully I can proc one of these, and then I'll be fine for most of the track. And then obviously some additional skills there. Pump some iron, definitely should not have grabbed this. This is a waste of skill point. Should have bought something else with that skill point there. Finally, I want to talk about Super Creek, Grass Under Fantasy, and Summer Special Week as a little bonus, because they're very strong and very popular in the long team trial section. Super Creek and Grass Under Fantasies, especially because they have wit bonuses as their training bonus, and having more wit, that means they have higher chance of activating their skills, higher skill point generation overall in their career, and also they can compensate with a lower stamina because they can run more gold recovery, and also their unique skill got buffed. Instead of 0.55 recovery, it's 0.75 recovery, which also makes them a top candidate for long team trials there. This one, Super Creek, they went a little bit more traditional. They went a decently high stamina base for a Super Creek, but just run a fewer recovery skill with only their innate pure heart recovery, and also Swinging Maestro, and then the white recovery as a little bit of extra buffer there with 720 wit. You can also go for low stamina setup but higher wit setup, and with this setup you want to generally go for another gold recovery on top of the unique skills, and also your Swinging Maestro generally. But this guy did not have another gold recovery skill. Instead he went 3 white recovery skills instead, which is like pretty close to a gold recovery skill. This one, because you have high wits, likely to hit all 3 of these anyway, so like not too much of an issue there. This will work just fine. This one's from the rank 11 player, these two. This one's from Heart Sign, and then this one is from the rank 3 player from Nice Nature. The Grass Wonder Fantasy sample, this one is from rank 16 player. Y4 Cub, she has a decently low stamina, Grass Wonder Fantasy, but very high wit. So instead, Grass Wonder Fantasy is really nice, because if you unlock her to potential level 5, you get 2 gold recoveries innately in her kit, along with her unique skills of superior heal. So obviously she has 709 stamina, which is really low for long team trials, but obviously because of her kit, she already have two gold recovery skill unlocked and also her unique, so they just buy two gold recovery skill along with her unique, and then her stamina problem, even though 709, will be no issue at all. She have high wit, will proc these very consistently, and will be good to go for the long team trials. This one is from the same heart sign, rank 11 player. Same thing. This one has even lower stamina, but still the same thing. Doesn't really matter too much. I run the double gold recovery along with the unique skills, and then her stamina issue will be no problem because of it. For Summer Special Week, this one they don't have wit bonuses, so some people run 2 wit cards, some people run even 3 wit cards, some people just run 1 wit card. These guys have obviously Dazzling and Diver. This one is not 0.75, this one is still 0.55. I believe this skill gets buffed in the next anniversary milestone. I think, I'm not too sure, but they can still go low stamina base here, and then they have their unique. They have Swing Maestro from Right Shower power card generally, and then they also choose the Right Shower team in the Unity Cup to get cooldown as well, so that they can get a recovery skill option through that. Sometimes some people, not often, most players just run this setup here with Right Shower. You can also just go with a very high. This one guy here, rank 28 player, Nutrition, decided to just run a bunch of stamina, just like a standard build, and then just run with Dazzling Diver and Swing. I did a bootleg version of trying to mimic this and have, good enough success to keep class 6, but obviously nowhere near as good as they did it. I didn't borrow for neither of them, 1 run only each. Super Krieg, I did 3 speed, 9 stamina, 6 power, and then Grass Under Fantasy, 9 speed, 3 stam, 3 power, 3 wit. Don't ask me what kind of ratio this is, I don't even remember myself. Super Krieg, I ran more standard because I put too much stamina because I screwed up. But I have decently high wit, decently high stamina, a little bit low on power, but that's okay. And I just decided, because I'm decently high stamina, I decided to just use my unique and then just 1 Swing Maestro, and that's good enough for me. It works pretty well. This is my deck. Grass Under Fantasy, obviously, my stamina is on life support. 585 is really low for long, but I just saw the same level up, the unique to level 4, which is the highest I can use for my Grass Under Fantasy. Grab my 2 gold recovery innately in her kit, and then because my stamina is a little bit low, so I also grabbed that corner recovery just in case as well. And these should be very consistently activate because of my high wit for my Grass Under Fantasy. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for it to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I hope this video helped even a little bit. If you have any questions, comment, I didn't include something that you think I should, or I misspoke, or said something wrong, please leave a comment down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, let me know if you want an in-depth run of one of these. I know I got slight interest in from the Unity Cup video. But regardless, hope you have an awesome day. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Take care.